Something here is not working.
There he is.
What's going on, my brother?
What's going on, the Weeping Diamond?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
doing
so
real
glad
good, man.
y'all
Sitting here chilling.
You sitting there chilling?
Yes,
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yep, we can hear
Yeah,
you now.
we
I
can.
have no idea what the heck is going on. But let me just say something real fast.
Mhm.
Mooney, I need you to take care of your big brother because I got a bunch of people that I'm supposed to do a three-way with after. He needs to complete his INX.
Pastor Dan, you need to complete your INX.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know how to send the money.
Okay.
And I didn't want to tell him while I'm trying to get it home, go up the elevator. That's one thing you're not supposed to do. We discussed that.
Got it.
So could you
Okay.
do that? He's already verified.
Okay, got you. Okay.
Okay.
I just need to know how to send the money.
I got
You know, I'm technically challenged.
you. Right.
Okay, I'm leaving you guys. I'm leaving in
Okay.
good hands. Let me make sure I don't leave. And
So we'll have to do a Zoom because I get kind of nervous. Well, you know what?
Hey, Zoom me because I can't lose.
No,
nothing.
well, I Dr. Rita called me and I told her, I was like, you're gonna have to talk to Michelle Renee because I ain't
Now,
trying to.
I got it down pat. It's just that I can't do. I got that down pat as long as we can do the wire. I
Okay.
got that part down pat. But I know
Got
you.
it. So we just we could
I
do
got to
it.
figure out how to get the money to him.
That's
Okay.
it. You're set. So let me get out of here. I don't know
Okay.
how to get out for some
All right,
reason.
about to get started.
Cool.
All right.
So right after this, Pastor Dan.
All right, we could. I'll send you another Zoom, or you could send me a Zoom link, whichever.
Yeah, send me your Zoom. It'll be quicker.
All right, that's cool. All right, well, let's see. We got about 13 people here, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, I think we all should be on a high.
Yes, sir.
From this past weekend, this last night. I mean, we've just had a wonderful, wonderful second year anniversary celebration. And one of the things I know about parties is that parties eventually come to an end until the next party. And so, but parties carry momentums. Many of you have done some virtual corporate parties. Our corporate parties has carried momentum. Your personal parties that you've done has carried momentum. And we want to make certain that this party carries momentum. There was a lot of things that were said throughout this. And so today I'm really going to deal with, just for a few moments, I'm going to deal with time. I'm going to deal with time because one of the things I need you to understand is that one of the greatest resources God has given you to really begin to gain wealth and be successful is the resource of time. And sometimes what happens is we lose sight of its significance. One of the things I'll help you to understand is that this day that we're in right now is a day, Teresa, that we've never seen before. And after this day is over, it is a day that we'll never see again. So this day that we're in, this moment that we're in, is a once in a lifetime opportunity. This from 6:30 to 7 o'clock is 30 minutes of my life that I'll never get back, that I decided to share with you. Does that make sense? That's just how valuable time is, because time literally is a piece of your life. And so what you don't want to do is you don't want to waste time. You don't want to waste time. And not only do you not want to waste time, but you don't want people to waste your time. And so I want you to literally put yourself in a position where you are taking ownership of your time. Now, for those of you that are working full time, one of the things I admonish you to do, I have this thing that I call a 20-20 rule. You probably may or may not have heard of this. It's something that I believe I came up with because I've never heard of it, but it's something that I coach entrepreneurs that are not necessarily working for themselves full time. And the 20-20 rule is this: make certain that 20% of your work time, and we know that it's a 40-hour week, 20% of that time you also give to yourself. So if you give your full-time job 40 hours, give yourself 8 hours for the week. If you give your full-time job 50 hours, give yourself 10 hours for the week, so that you could work full-time on your job, but you have an allotment of time to work part-time on your fortune. Does that make sense? You want to be able to work full-time on your job and part-time on your fortune. And you must understand that if you're not working part-time on your fortune and working full-time on your job, then literally what you're doing is making a conscious decision to work a full-time job for the rest of your life and never receive a fortune. I'll give you another example. One of my fraternity brothers is a very, very well-to-do guy, but he's a well-to-do guy working for somebody else. He lives in a $900,000 home and things of that nature, but he's working a job for somebody else. And I asked one day, I said, let me ask you a question. What happens if you lose your job? And he said, then I'll have to go find me another one. I said, so basically, this lifestyle that you're living is contingent upon what somebody else says they're going to pay you. And I said, why don't you invest some of your time in building something for yourself? So if for whatever reason, my son walked in my office, you guys, and his phone rang. So my apologies. So if for whatever reason that you lose the job, you'll have something that you've been building upon. And he said that he does not have time. And that is a challenge. So my 20-20 rule for anybody that works a full-time job is whatever time you give to that job full-time, give it back to yourself. Give 20% of that time back to yourself. That means if it's 40 hours, it's 8 hours. Now, what are you going to do with the 8 hours? That's very, very important. Because if you don't, watch this, manage yourself within the time that you've been given, then you will lose time, which means you will waste time and you will not be able to recover time. One of the things that Phyllis and I, we talked about, and you may have mentioned it to you before, is that I deal with time blocking. That means I know for a fact that I cannot control time. I do not believe in time management. Why don't I believe in time management? Because when you manage something, it is to suggest that you can control it. When you manage something, it is to suggest that you have some type of authority over it. But the reality of the situation is you cannot manage time, because time is going to tick. The clock is going to move whether you're ready for it or not. So so there is really no true time management, but there is self-management. So how do you manage your activities? How do you manage yourself within the time that you are given? So if you have 8 hours for the week that you set aside to work for yourself, what do you do within that 8 hours? Maybe 1 hour, 2 hours should be spent in new prospecting. And so just give you an idea. So I'm going to spend 2 hours a week in new prospecting. Maybe another hour out of the week is sending out videos to people that you have prospected with. Maybe another hour of the week, going into the 4th hour, is to go on Facebook and make comments on posts. I'll give you an example. All of you know that I'm trying to get not trying, I have made a conscious decision to get the fat belly down. I made a conscious decision to get the dimple out the thighs, the junk out the trunk, so that I can be healthy, right? And so earlier today, I posted on Wakana's, on the Wakana page, what my breakfast was. And there was a gentleman that commented that it had nothing to do with the breakfast, and said, I hate to intrude on your post, but I wanted to know if you have a need for graphic design. Just because he did that, I actually went private messaged him and said, send me some of your work. Let me see some samples. Now, I didn't necessarily like the samples, so I won't do business. But had I liked what I saw, I would have given him an opportunity to do business. And what I'm saying to you is it took him less than 30 seconds to make that post. So let's look at 1 hour. I'm going to focus on just commenting on certain people's Facebook pages, commenting in the comment section on something that they're doing. And it may or may not be related to what you're doing. But this is how you begin to tell your time. This is how you begin to properly manage yourself within the time that you are given. Are y'all understanding this? And so now 2 hours have been spent with prospecting. Another hour have been spent following up. Another hour has been spent with the, as we go to, what do you call it? Another hour is spent as we go through Facebook. Then you may have 1 other hour. You may have another hour that is going to be spent, because you got 8 hours in looking for new customers. So however way you break up your time, the purpose is take that time and maximize it. Take that time and maximize it. Now, some of you may say, Pastor Dan, Coach Dan, I don't have that much time. And so I've given some of you this exercise before, but for some of those that may be new, imagine documenting every 30 minutes of your day for 7 days. It's 168 hours in a week, right? You document every 30 minutes of what did you do within that 30-minute increment for 7 days. When you look back and you go back to it, you'll be able to see where your time is going. I did it before, and when I did it, I realized I had about 20 hours a week that was unaccounted for. And I made a decision to utilize that 20 hours a week that I had, that I was losing, to go back to school full time and get a degree. Because I knew that I had the time, because I charted. And so I want you to really become this sophisticated in managing yourself so that you can increase in your productivity. That being said, I'm going to share my screen, and this is a slide from, that doesn't look right. Oh, there it is. This is a slide from a presentation that I did with a bunch of entrepreneurs and sales managers. And it's called 5 Things to Produce More. And here's what I want to challenge you to do. 5 things to produce more. If you ever wonder what is killing your time and stealing your productivity, you'll probably find it in this moment. 5 things to, let me go back, to produce more. Number 1, reduce television time by 50%. So no matter how much television you may watch, what I would want you to do is reduce your television time by 50%. Even if you're like me, I work in my office At every office I have about 3 offices in the city of Chicago. And in each office, I have a television. And it's not because I sit and watch all this TV. For whatever reason, I like to have the news in the background. But there are moments that I have to say no, because even the news can be a distraction if it's something that I'm interested in. So if you really want to focus on productivity, you have to be careful of television time, and you reduce it by 50%. Reduce your television time by 50%. Now, here's the next thing I want you to do. I want you to set a no phone zone time for at least 1.5 hours a day. What does that look like? That means for 1.5 hours, every day you turn your phone off. Now you pick when that time is, and that is the time that I want you to focus in on productivity, because there's always something that's going to make itself available to impede upon your time and or your time blocking. All right? Set a no phone zone. I'm not dealing with my phone right now. I'm focused in on 1.5 hours on whatever it is, and watch how it revolutionizes your productivity. We're like magnet to these phones. I got 2 of them, and phones are always going off. I'm in the middle of doing this, the phone rings. I pick the phone up, I answer the phone. Now I'm on the phone for 30 minutes. I've lost that time that I cannot get back. So when you get all of this information, you can have the information, but if you don't have the time in order to put this information in action, then literally you will never see the information that you have begin to activate in your life. So set a no phone zone. Turn the phone off for at least 1.5 hours a day. Watch this. Here's another one that's big that I want to share with you. Limit non-business and non-emergency phone calls to 10 minutes during productivity hours. So if you have set time where I'm focused, I'm locked in, don't sit there and allow your friends to call. And I don't really care how good of a friend they are, especially the friends that call and they don't want nothing. You ever get a phone call that say, hey, how you doing? And you answer the phone and you say, I'm doing great. What are you doing? Oh, I'm working. What are you doing? Nothing. Oh, okay. Well, let me get back to my something and you get back to your nothing and we'll connect later on. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because if you don't, you will find yourself becoming consumed with these phone calls. Here's another one. How about the person that makes the call to you because they got a problem? And now their problem, because that they undoubtedly probably created, they want you to be the one to handle it. Listen, don't allow somebody else's negligence to constitute your emergency. It is their negligence. Let it be their emergency. Because if you take on somebody else's negligence as your emergency, an emergency interrupts the normal flow of things. When it is an emergency, that means it is something that now takes priority over something else that may have already been established. So we have emergencies in our own lives that we have to deal with, but don't allow somebody else's negligence to become your emergency that disrupts and or interferes with your ability to be productive. All right. Here it is. If you're working full time, spend no less than 1 hour each day on your personal business or your personal goals. It goes back to what I said earlier, the 20-20 rule. And I'm going to give you the other part of the 20 in a second. So the first part of the 20 is 20% of the time you give to your job. At least 20% of that you give back to yourself. and your personal business, right? And then the next thing to be productive is finish what you start. And don't start it unless you can finish it, right? And so that was just something that I wanted to share with you. I wanted you to see it, and I hope that was helpful. This is very good. I've reduced my TV by 75% since you told us this before. That's right. It's made a huge difference in my productivity and my emotional mindset. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so those are things that you want to do. So 20%, the 20/20 rule is this: 20% of the time that you've allotted for work on a full-time job, you should spend on your part-time fortune. The next part of the 20/20 rule is simply this, is that 20% of your funds, your money, you should put to work for you. 20% of the money that you work for, you should put to work for you. That means you should invest it in something that's going to allow it to increase, that's going to allow it to multiply. I've almost broken even already on my 420 pack. So I took funds that I had, I invested it in a 420 pack, and now I'm receiving funds back from that 420 pack. So, because a lot of times, as I said during our conference, if you don't tell your money where to go, it will take you wherever your impulse leads you. You got to understand that. If you don't tell your money where to go, it will take you wherever your impulse leads you. Now, let me go real quick to some other notes that I have here on this other part of the 20 rule. One second to pull this up. The next part of the 20 rule, when it comes to money, is you not only do you take 20% and you invest it, but you don't spend money on anything that's not an asset. So what do you mean by that? That means I have a rule in my home: if it costs me more than $500, I'm going to invest it. And then the profits from that investment is going to pay for whatever it is that I wanted to consume. And all of these things is necessary for you to build a successful business. And so I'm going to stop right there because I thought I saw a hand up, but I don't know how to find the hand that went up. But I thought I saw somebody raise their hand. If there's a question that you may have, do me a favor and put it in the chat. Any questions or comments about what we're talking about here tonight? Number one, what's killing your time, stealing your productivity? And number two, investing back into your business. Any questions, any thoughts? We have about 7 more minutes. I just didn't want to talk all the way through it and not leave time for any feedback.
No, you pretty much said it, Coach Stan, as far as the 20/20. And I was just talking to my husband about this. We have to make time for, put things in alignment as far as blocking off time. And once that time is up, you go to the next thing. You don't stay on that one item if the time is up.
Yeah. And here, thank you so much for that. And here's what we also must understand about time. Because time, all of us are given the same amount of time, right? Many of us wear different hats. You just said you're a husband, so that means you're a wife. Undoubtedly, you're probably a mother. You're a business owner. These are different hats, and you have to understand when to prioritize a particular hat, and that includes your business. Like, for example, I'm training you guys. Well, my son just went to another practice. So I have to neglect being a father to fulfill my role as a VP of training and development. And so because 6:30 has been a time that has been blocked off. Are y'all seeing that? And the key in leadership and the key in managing yourself within the time that is allotted is knowing when to make what hat a priority. Are y'all getting that? It's knowing when to make what hat a priority. For example, when you're getting ready to rank advance, and it's at the end of the month, and you may be 5,000 points away from being able to go to the next level, right? Well, this is where your Wakana business becomes the priority. And you block off time to make certain that you invested in that in order to get to rank to the next level. So that means, though, because I'm giving myself this time, and I'm giving this time myself to this time, then that means I may neglect something else. And so if you're going to be successful and productive, you're going to know, you have to learn how to manage the things that you have to neglect in order to fulfill the things that you have made a priority. Is this making sense? Because I want you to be successful. People ask, how do you do all of this stuff? It's because of the fact that I know I'm learning. I'm not going to say I know. I am learning how to neglect when I need to neglect in order to make something else the priority, in order to get all things done within the allotment of time that has been given to me to get it done. So when I get off this call, I have one more Zoom, and then at about 8:30, I've blocked off 8:30 typically to about 9:30, 10 o'clock on Wednesdays to do what? To do family roundtable with the fam. And this is where we sit down, talk to each other, share what's going on in our lives. Why? Because I have to make being a family man a priority, just as I make being a pastor a priority, a businessman a priority, Wakana a priority. And in order to do it, you have to get control of yourself within the time that you have. So that means you cannot afford to waste time. I don't allow dead spaces unless I schedule the space to be dead so that I can rest, so that I can do some other things. But even then now, I've scheduled it, right? Now, any feedback on that, any questions on that, as I have literally 120 seconds before we pass this over to the warm and wonderful Kathy Weathersby. All right. All right. Well, good. So just remember that the 2020 rule, 20% into your business, 20% of the time that you give to your full-time job, give it to your business. And then 20% of the money that you make from the full-time job, invest it back into your business, and watch how both your business and you grow exponentially. Kathy, hey.
How you doing, Coach Dan? That was some really good nuggets. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. You are welcome.
Yes, it's always good to get that focus back in on what you need to be doing. You know, we know that when we look at TV, that it's not shooting out cash.
It's not.
We know that. It's not shooting out cash. So we know that.
Matter of fact, after a while, we shooting cash at it.
Yes, sir. I have picked up my phone and bought a few things from television. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yes, sir. So we got about another minute or so.
It's
Looks
all
like looks like a couple of people are asking some questions. Just finished the book. Okay. Thanks for the
what
2020
book?
rule.
What book?
Thanks.
Teresa Glass said I just finished the book. What
Yeah.
book is that, Teresa?
Are you talking about the 80-20 rule or the 20-20 rule? You talking about the morning
The 80-20 rule.
80-20? Okay.
Okay. I haven't read that book. I have to. I've heard about it. I think I've heard of it before, but I haven't read it.
All righty, guys. It is that time.